This slide is made by Max Ho, Asen Hong, and Alan Shun. So what is exactly drug abuse? Drug abuse is also known as doping in sports. It commonly refers to an athlete using an illegal and prohibited substance to enhance their own sports performance. Doping is illegal because it destroys the spirit of sports, as no athlete or player should ever get an unfair advantage over others by using unethical substance.
Some of the sports with the most common doping problems, including cycling, track and field, and boxing. These are all high explosive power endurance heavy sports. At sports of this high level, very few can even qualify for it, which is most likely why a lot more people use performance-enhancing drugs in it. Over 30% of participants in the 2011 Olympics admitted to the use of drugs to enhance their physical performance. This is, of course, a ridiculously high number of participants that use drugs in the Olympics. But something more absurd is that there was actually 44% of them, and all of them doping, but only 0.5% were caught in the drug test. With the system and the drug test being this bad and lenient, any athlete can dope and most likely get away with it. This is, of course, encouraging most competitive athletes that want to get gold medals in their respective sport, drug, as they could be a top athlete with drugs and nobody would know, creating a very bad mindset and sportsmanship. With the top track and field 100 meters sprinter Usain Bolt warning his fellow rivals and competitors that they need to stop doping and how much of an impact doping is having on the sports industry, especially athletes that are competing in the Olympics and are just starting off their career. Doping can ruin an athlete's career and have large amounts of backlash from the audience if discovered. For example, Justin Gatlin, he was accused and declared guilty of using performance-enhancing drugs back in 2011, 2001, and 2003. But since then, after the ban from the Olympics, he has trained hard and tried his best. And finally, at 2017, Usain Bolt's last race in his career, unfortunately lost to Justin Gatlin, mostly due to him not being in his prime. But due to his past and history, the moment Justin Gatlin went onto the track, he was booed by the entire crowd. But despite that, he still won the gold medals and beat the world's fastest man. But nobody congratulated him, and boos filled the crowd. This is a prime example of how doping can ruin someone's reputation or career despite their... Blood doping is a commonly used way for sport doping. The job of blood doping is to increase hemoglobin in the human body. Hemoglobin is a bloodstream which carries protein around the body using oxygen. By this being said, the oxygen acts like a fuel where it charges up the muscle. This way, the athlete won't feel tired really quickly. Blood doping is primarily used to help increase stamina. Hence, people use it for long run and cycling. Blood doping is banned in all kinds of sports organizations. The most free commonly used blood doping are injection of erythropoietin, the blood transfusion, and the injection of synthetic oxygen carriers. Injection of erythropoietin is a hormone created by the kidney. Blood transfusion is quite self-explanatory. It inputs blood from somewhere and it gets blood from somewhere and it inputs it to your body. Injection of synthetic oxygen carriers is made from chemical that includes oxygen in them. The whole idea of blood doping is to add more hemoglobin into the human body. This means there will be more blood cells added to the body. Hence, the blood will be thicker in the human body. When the blood is thicker, it causes the heart to work harder, so the blood could go all around the body. As the heart works harder, it can cause blood clot, heart attack, and stroke. Injection of erythropoietin could cause hyperkalemia, high blood pressure, and mid-flu-like symptoms. Hyperkalemia means there are too much potassium in the human body. High blood pressure because there are a lot of blood inserted to the body. It can cause mid-flu-like symptoms because the body might not be able to handle that amount of blood in the body. Blood transfusion can cause allergic reaction, rashes, or hives and fever. This might be because the blood isn't suitable for the person using it. Or synthetic oxygen carriers can cause heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and blood clot. This is because the chemical inserted to the body increases the blood rate and heart rate, causing these risks.
Stimulants are a kind of sports-enhancing drug that change the nervous system. Stimulants speed up the brain and the body, therefore increasing the heart rate, blood pressure, metabolism, and the body temperature of the user. It's primarily used by athletes to reduce tiredness and increase the athlete's awareness, and also making the athlete more aggressive. Common stimulants include cocaine, amphetamine, caffeine, and nicotine. Stimulants can cause damage to the liver, loss of smell, and heart attack. Stimulants is also addictive as it can stimulate the brain dopamine, which is the chemical in your brain that causes pleasure. One of the most common stimulants is cocaine, which can cause panic attacks and paranoia. Amphetamine is another common stimulant as it can cause hallucination, damage to the liver, kidneys, and make the user more violent. And it can also cause short-term or long-term memory loss depending on how serious the abuse is. Anabolic drugs are drugs that are made from testosterone. These are chemicals that are responsible for puberty development, but when in the form of anabolic drugs, they are used to build up and break down biochemicals like muscle. They can help to affect the muscle growth, and also upping the level of blood to increase the muscle size and strength, which makes it a very common drug for bodybuilders or weightlifters to use. Anabolic drugs are normally taken in pills or injected into the body. Anabolic drugs, when overused, can cause serious harms to the body. These can include high blood pressure, aching, abnormal features in the liver function. For women, it can cause abnormalities in the menstrual cycle, while for men, it can cause reduced sperm production and impotence, kidney failure, and heart disease. They also make the user more aggressive. The first way of stopping doping in professional athletes is increasing the severity of the punishment when athletes are caught doping. This can include increasing the amount of penalty fine that athletes need to pay, making doping a prison sentence, or increasing the time spent in prison if it already is a prison sentence. By doing this procedure, it can cause a kind of warning signal for athletes to avoid from doping, as the punishment, if caught, will be extremely high. Another way of stopping doping is developing more advanced ways to check doping. As one of the slides shows, only 0.5% from the 2011 Olympic who were admitted to doping got caught, showing that it's very important to have more advanced technology that can check doping so that the performance-advancing drug can be easier to detect. We should also make doping tests more random so that athletes cannot intentionally hide their doping habit more easily. These ways can make the entire competition more fair, as less people will dope, as the people who are caught doping is already caught. The third way of stopping doping is increasing the public awareness. To achieve this, posters, advertisement, leaflets, and etc. can be shown by countries to tell us the use of chemicals in doping and how it can affect them. They will be so that the public will be less tolerant against actions like doping, as they have a better knowledge of why doping should be non-tolerated and should be avoided at all costs. This can make athletes more fearful against doping, as normally athletes rely on money that comes from their audience. So if the public is angry of them, they can advertisement, competition, and etc. will not invite athletes anymore.
Last but not least, but I believe that this will be the most effective way to prevent doping in sports, especially in the US where most athletes are from. A lot of young athletes in the US have their career ruined by doping, and the main reason I think of that would be there are way too many ways for them to way too much methods and ways to get drugs, and the laws are way too lenient. As well as students not listening in class or just too little education or impact the classes have on the mindset of a young teenager. Although there are many drug prevention lessons at school, they really have no impact on the students. So I believe that the schools have to teach drug prevention as early as possible to have a better and more dramatic impact on the child's mind, so they would remember it, and making them think drugs can ruin your whole life instead of drug is bad, I guess.